thinking them through and putting them down in a really like comprehensive way is the Knight of Wands, taking that action. Now, the warning for Knight of Wands would also then be to not just start taking action without doing the work beforehand. So, hey everybody, I am 𝗪𝗲 and you are here for Wednesday Woo. Welcome in. I think everything went super smooth today. It feels lovely when shit just works out, doesn't it? So if you're here, I'd love you to say hey. Let me know that you're here. I was just saying that this is Virgo season, and it makes sense that we talk about making a plan today. And so I'm going to show you just briefly the cards for this week in case you haven't seen my whole 5-day spread video. I'm going to just kind of real quickly run through the cards so that I can make clear to you the things that you need to do before you make a plan. So for me, as someone who has a lot of Cancer in their charts, I'm very emotional. I want to make everybody feel comfortable, and I want to give you things to drink and make you feel at home. Making a plan is not necessarily my strong suit all the time. You know, you can't be good at everything. So for me, now that I have learned a little bit more astrology, and I'm starting to learn a bit more, we'll talk about that down the road, but I'm starting to connect more with my Virgo moon. So my moon is in Virgo, and Virgo, which is the season that we're in now, is the planner. Virgo wants to make sure that shit is done, that it's done in a particular way, and is that motivator to get you moving beyond, for me, in Cancer. And if there's any Cancers in the house, say hey. But getting our emotions moving forward, or the ways in which we want to help people. And so part of that is creating a plan. So for this week, we saw, I'll switch my camera over real quick just to go through the other cards, because I want to make sure it's important that we get through the things that needed to happen, that we prepare ourselves for a plan. So for me, step one in creating a plan is going to be the pre-work. And part of that is making sure that making sure that we have taken the time. So this week, our card for spiritual connection was the Hanged Man. And I talked about making sure that not only are you intentionally stepping back and making sure that you've got kind of thought through things, that you've allowed yourself some you time, but that you also look at things from a different perspective, that you allow yourself to not just do the things that you've always done, or, you know, if I just clean up my desk or my mess in a particular situation, then I can just move forward and everything is good. No, you need to look at shit differently. If you're trying to do shit differently, you want to be differently and show up differently in the world, you have to allow yourself time to step back and intentionally look at things a little bit different. So that was our first card for spiritual connection this week. And it's really important that you do that, because again, if we're talking about making a plan, you got to do the stuff beforehand to get yourself ready. So the next card that we had was our health and happiness card. And that was the 6 of Cups. And so what I loved about this card, especially when I first pulled it, is that it makes me think about connecting with different generations. And so for me, you know, I have children, I have grandchildren. My parents are deceased, and, you know, their parents are deceased. But for a lot of us, we have more than one generation alive in our lives, and it's easy to lose track of the lessons, the learning that we can get from those folks. So recently, you know, you all know I was on vacation with my kids and my grandkids, And just spending time with the babies, like there's so many lessons to be learned, even though they're little and they do what they do in the way that they do it. Certain, freedoms, the abilities to just try new things and be brave in areas that you grow up and think you can't be brave in anymore. So all those little things that when you take the time to spend with someone who's in a different generation, older or younger than you, the lessons that come through, and this was again for our health and happiness this week, are really crucial. And they're things that you are not going to come up with yourself. If you're just sitting at a desk or alone in your room or alone in your office, you're not going to come up with those things naturally. So that was our health and happiness card. And then we move to our love and relationships card, and you're going to start to see a little pattern emerge for this week. And again, this is all leading up to us preparing to start planning that this love and relationships card is the 10 of Cups. It's like the epitome of what you want for your love and relationship. It is that kind of final destination, feeling complete happiness. And what I love about this card, especially in this deck, I love this deck, is that there are 4 people there. So when I talk about love and relationships, or we talk about love in general, it isn't just about, a partner or a spouse, or, it's about all of the people that are in your life that you're in relationship with, your coworkers, if you're running a business, other people that you work with, your friends, those are all relationships. You are exchanging emotions with those people. And the 10 of Cups in the love and relationships category really is about making the most, celebrating all of those relationships. And so between this and the 6 of Cups, we start to see this week this idea of co-creation. So as we're preparing ourselves to get to the Knight of Wands, which is our planning card, we need to move through all of these phases. And one of those, again, is this 10 of Cups, celebrating our relationships with all the people that we're in relationship with. So one more card before we get to the overall card that we will talk about a little bit more. And that is our business and career card for this week, which was the Moon card. Again, if you didn't get a chance to see this full video, you can check it out on YouTube. There's a link around here, or you can watch it over on IGTV. So the business and career card, the Moon card is that reflection, taking time for personal reflection. I'll mention again that idea of stepping back. This is whether you have your own business, you're thinking about starting a business. So it is that card, again, of remembering, like I was saying with the Hanged Man for a spiritual connection, it is a card that reminds us that we have to go inside. We can't just focus on trying, we want great things to happen. So let's just focus on the good stuff. I have a friend who, jokes that like, we're all love and light all the time. And that's not true. There's dark shit you got to go through. You have to spend time in that to move through it. But yeah, I do try to have an end goal of love and light, but I'm also realistic. And so in your career, whether you're at work, whether it's your own business or you work for someone else, this week is a time that you need to really look within and see what's working and what's not working. Are you just angry or upset or frustrated or blocked in a particular area that you are sweeping under the rug and not doing anything about? Or are you taking the time to sit down and realize what those issues are, what those blocks are, and start to do something about it? The Moon needs you to step back and step in the stuff that doesn't feel great and really reflect on that and see where you get. So all of those things led us up to our overall card, which I'll put up here now. Boom. The Knight of Wands card. So once you've done the other things that we talked about, you've taken a step back, you've looked at new perspectives, you've talked to people or spent time with folks that are older than you, folks that are younger than you, And again, not for the purpose of like doing a thing, like let me sit down with these children and take notes. Being in the presence of others, being around other people, allowing their energy to interact with your energy is so important. We're getting ready to move into Libra season, which, you know, Boo can tell you all about as one of my favorite Libras. That idea of balance and creating community, you know, for me, that Libra energy is about others so much. But now in this Virgo season of planning, of getting ready to fully immerse yourself in relationships with others, why not do it with people that you already know, you already love, you already care about, and just start to feel more what that energy exchange is like. Once you're able to do all of those things and really celebrate those relationships, then we can get to the planning of Virgo. So planning with this Knight of Wands. So the Knight of, you know, Wands again, that Wands are all about that fiery energy. It is the card of doing, or I'm sorry, the suit of doing things. It's not about our emotions or our overthinking things. It's about actually just going out there and doing stuff. So the Knight of Wands, to me, is the epitome of like just leaping out there and doing things. It is all about that pursuit, if you will. You have this idea, you have maybe a new project you're trying to get off the ground, or a new relationship or something like that. Yeah, all the Libra love. Yes, I have lots of Libra love in my life. But the knights are the ones who, yes, they're, if you think of like those stories of knights in shining armor and just going out and doing and rescuing, and knights aren't afraid to just leap out there, no matter what suit that they're in. But especially within this fiery action sign of Wands, when you're thinking about planning, when you're thinking about doing, there comes a point, all the things that we already talked about in preparation, there comes a point where the Knight of Wands, in terms of planning, is that moment where you've thought through all the things, you've written a bunch of things down, and now it's time to do it. It's time to stop just dreaming about what might be nice and actually sit down, pen to paper or on your computer, tablet, and start actually making a plan. Again, now in this Virgo energy is going to give you the structure that you need to not just have a bunch of ideas. Like I always have tons of ideas about random shit, but actually doing something with them, right? Getting them on paper, thinking them through, and putting them down in a really like comprehensive way is the Knight of Wands, taking that action. Now, the warning for Knight of Wands would also then be to not just start taking action without doing the work beforehand. So the caution can be sometimes we're so much in the like, I gotta change, I gotta do shit differently mode that we just start doing. And we hadn't thought about it, we hadn't prepared for it. And that doesn't always work out great. Now, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't start acting. You absolutely should. But do it in a way that feels thought through. And so I want to go back for a second to this idea of co-creation. We saw it a couple of times in the cards with the Six of Cups, with the Ten of Cups. It really is about, and I certainly feel this for myself, and through all that we've gone through, all of these, you know, months, year and a half plus at this point with COVID and being kept away from people and locked away from people, there were some great life lessons that we had to get out of that we had to move through. But now we're starting to get to a point in our lives and our energy where it needs to be moving forward. You need to start co-creating with other people. And that doesn't mean go out and be unsafe with, you know, not vaccinated and other people not vaccinated, and just, I'm not suggesting that, but you have to start re-emerging and reconnecting in really meaningful ways with people. Not just sitting at home like, oh, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll see friends tomorrow. Maybe I'll call so-and-so another day. Again, I will say that I fall into this category. I'm not an exception to this rule. It is a constant learning. But it's time with this Knight of Wands to really sit down and decide to make a plan about how you want to really start showing up in the world moving forward. Whatever happened before, okay, it happened. We can't change it. If it's, in a relationship, if you're in a relationship that is probably over with, now is the time to figure out, how do I let this go? What's the plan? How do I move forward? If you're in a great relationship with somebody and you're ready to take it to the next level, I'm all about being the one who asks. Make a plan. What are you going to do? How are you going to pop the question? How are you going to, connect with this other person? If it's around your personal health and happiness, what about, Danielle said, but I don't want to come out of my cave. You do. You need to. We all need to. Even those of us who are introverts, we need that energy from other people every now and again. You need that little boost. And so much creativity comes out from that too. So if we think about that in terms of our health and happiness, and how we have that Six of Cups, and again, this co-creation, learning from other people and learning from doing. I mean, let me put this back up, like they're doing stuff. These kids in this card, they're not just there, they're interacting with each other. There are lessons being learned front and back in this card. And you only can get that when you're actually co-creating, when you're actually spending your energy with other people. So if this is about your spiritual connection and taking action, making a plan for that, we saw the Hangman and what that idea of stepping back and looking at things differently. Maybe you've been saying to yourself that, I have not really been connecting with myself very much. I haven't really spent the time to meditate, or maybe I've never meditated. I don't know what that even looks like. I don't think I can meditate. I don't think it's for me. I can't shut my mind off. That's not what meditation is. We'll talk about that another day. But if you're ready to start connecting within, more to your intuition, more to a higher power, more to, God, Goddess, the divine, however you identify that which is bigger than you, whatever that is, make a plan. It may seem like it's spirit. Do I need a plan? You need a plan. Otherwise, you'd be doing it already. So a plan for that might be, okay, maybe I want to start trying some meditations. Where do I begin? Let me, find a bunch of places online. I mean, YouTube has all the things. Let me find a bunch of different people who offer meditations online and try a couple of them. Maybe it's starting to plan to create a morning routine where you sit down and, spend 15 minutes doing a meditation or journaling or something like that. So all of those things, now is the time to start making a plan to do that, because we have to start moving forward. Again, I told you last week, now that it's September and this 9th month, this is the time to start moving towards, I don't want to say endings, like you have to just stop doing things, but closing things down so that you can get ready for this next phase. If we're talking about business and career, so if you, again, that Moon card, what's the plan? How is your business not moving forward? Maybe, you have a company that is doing okay, but you kind of like leveled out. What can you be doing that's going to engage more people, get you more clients or customers? Maybe you're in a business that hasn't really been growing very much. Okay, well, what do I need to start letting go of? The Moon card, what isn't going great that I need to really reflect on and see, what can I do differently here? How can I show up differently? What can I do to draw people in differently? If it's in a career, you work for someone else, maybe you've been in this job a long time and you're ready for a change. You're not feeling like you're really appreciated enough, or you're doing all this work and not being compensated for it, whatever it is. Again, Making a plan. Well, what are you going to do? Now that you know it, you can't unknow it. So what are we going to do about it? How are you going to start to be differently at work? How are you going to start standing up for yourself or showing up differently? So all of those things, now is the time, absolutely, Knight of Wands, now is the time to make a plan. Maybe by the end of this week, you'll feel like you can start putting that plan into action. Great. But don't start with just the action. Start with this other piece of it. Start with this co-creation. Start with this thinking about all these other components in your life and what you really want to be doing and how that looks different than what you're currently doing. What does all that mean for you? Spend time. I'm going to say this over and over and over and over. Spend time with you and figure out what you need. It's not what I need for you. If I know you, I have probably come up with this beautiful vision of who you can be because that's a gift that I have. But it doesn't matter what I want for you. You have to want it for you. You have to want something different. You have to put yourself in a position where you're like, you know what? I'm finally ready. I'm ready to move physically. I'm ready, to move my body. I'm ready to move my address. I'm ready to move my business forward. I'm ready to move my connections within. I'm ready to move this relationship, whatever it is. The Knight of Wands is telling you this week, start doing it. I will also say, and I'll kind of end with this, that we just had the new moon in Virgo, and new moons are all about intention, setting intentions. As we're talking about planning, take some time. This is still the third day, so we're still in new moon energy. You got 3 days before and after. It's never too late, though, to set intentions, but start now. Start now, setting your intentions, at least for this next month. From now until, next month's new moon, what is it I want to be changing? What is it I want to be working on and making a plan to be different? Set those intentions today. As soon as we finish here, before you go to bed tonight, set a couple of intentions or one real good juicy intention. Write it down, think about it, put it someplace where you're going to see it, and start working a little bit every day towards making that happen, towards making an actual plan and moving forward for the next month. That's it. Start moving forward on those intentions, because I'm telling you now, again, this Virgo energy has got me doing a bunch of shit. It's real. And we're getting ready to come back to a Mercury in retrograde in less than 2 weeks. So before all of that starts happening and some of us get a little backed up, now's the time to start moving and start planning. So I think that's it. I don't see any questions from anyone. So let me switch back here. I will also just remind you that if you haven't already, that you are welcome to ask me a question. So our 2-minute tarot allows you to ask me one question. You'll send me a little message with what your question is. I will pull one card for you and I will send you a video reply back. That's it. If you want to book some time with me afterwards, great. If not, great. It is really important that, again, you take some time to think about what your questions are, think about what you need to know, whatever is blocking you. If I can help, please let me help. That's what I live for. Lots of Cancer. So I hope to see everyone soon. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to move this out of the way so I can say my goodbyes to everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And I don't have my graphic up, so I'll come back maybe tomorrow. I'll do a little video and talk about this month's workshop that is coming up at the end of the month. I haven't done great at promoting that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll come back tomorrow. How about that? I'll put it out there into the universe so that you can call me on it. If I don't show up tomorrow, I will talk to you tomorrow about what this month's workshop is going to be. It's going to be really, really juicy, really good. I think you're going to love it. check in with me tomorrow and see what that's all about. So thank you so much for being here. I love you too, Boo, and all of you watching, and make sure that y'all stay magical.